The wind danced gently across the open fields as Emma Harper rode bareback beneath the fading sun. At 16, she found more comfort in silence than in conversation, more peace among animals than people. Her companion, Valor a striking black Mustang, moved beneath her with grace and power, his every step purposeful, his every breath steady. Their bond wasn't loud or boastful, it was something ancient, something earned. Emma lived on the outskirts of town with her father, a quiet man who once served in the military. After losing Emma's mother years ago, he'd raised his daughter with equal parts softness and strength. Their small property held just enough land for one barn, a few chickens, and the horse who had come into their lives like a blessing. Valor wasn't just any horse. Emma's father had received him through a military equine program, a reward of sorts though he rarely spoke of it. The Mustang arrived thin, scarred, and sharp-eyed. But where others saw damage, Emma saw dignity. She'd spent countless hours earning his trust, speaking without words, learning his rhythms. Over time, they became inseparable. At school, though, Emma felt like a ghost. She didn't wear trendy clothes or flood social media with selfies. Her hair was always tied back, her boots always muddy. That made her an easy target. Tanner, Luke, and Bree, 3 students obsessed with appearance and status, latched onto her difference like it was a weakness. The more she ignored them, the louder they became. Still playing cowgirl with that flea-ridden beast? Tanner sneered one afternoon in the parking lot, his designer jacket pristine, while Emma loaded a feed bag into her truck bed. Luke joined in. What kind of loser hangs out with a mutt of a horse instead of real people? Emma didn't respond. She rarely did. Instead, she looked past them, toward the trail that led home. Valor would be waiting. That evening, with the sky painted in golden streaks, Emma rode into the hills behind her property. She let Valor run, his hooves kicking up dust like thunder. In those moments she felt free, untouched by cruelty, unseen by judgment. But trouble has a way of following the quiet. As she dismounted near the stream that wound through the meadow, she heard it, the low rumble of an engine. A truck. Voices. Laughter. She turned just as Tanner's vehicle crested the hill. Her stomach sank. They hadn't followed her by accident. They were here for something else entirely. The truck's tires crunched over the dry grass as it rolled to a stop just a few yards away. The doors swung open with a slam, and out stepped Tanner, Luke, and Bree, their faces twisted into mocking grins. Emma's breath hitched. She gripped Valor's reins, instinctively stepping closer to his side. Well, well, Tanner drawled, arms crossed. Didn't expect to see you out here. Thought you only came out to whisper secrets to your little pony. He's a Mustang, Emma replied quietly, her voice steady despite the tightness in her chest. Luke chuckled, tossing a soda can into the grass. Looks more like a reject. Probably got kicked out of a circus. Bree circled around, eyeing Valor like he was an exhibit. What's the deal with this freak anyway? He barely flinches. Is he even alive? Emma's eyes narrowed. Leave him alone. But they didn't. Tanner stepped closer and clapped his hands suddenly near Valor's face. The Mustang didn't move. His ears flicked, but he remained still, calm, collected. That only seemed to provoke Tanner more. He's broken, he said with a smirk, then reared his leg and kicked Valor sharply in the ribs. The impact echoed in Emma's ears like a gunshot. Valor jolted slightly but didn't lash out. He planted his hooves deeper into the earth, standing firm, his nostrils flaring but his body still composed, like he was holding back something vast and disciplined. Emma rushed to his side, placing a hand on his shoulder. That's enough. Luke hesitated, glancing at the horse. That thing's weird. Doesn't act like a normal horse. He's not some toy for you to break, Emma snapped, fire now in her voice. Bree rolled her eyes. Chill out. You act like it's royalty or something. Emma looked each of them in the eye. He's worth more than any of you understand. There was a beat of silence, broken only by the buzz of insects and the hum of Valor's breathing. Then Tanner scoffed and turned back to the truck. Let's go. This is boring. They piled in, tires spinning dirt as they sped off, laughter fading into the trees. Emma stood frozen, one hand still resting on Valor's side. He hadn't bucked, bitten, or reacted with fear. Instead, he had shown restraint, a level of calm even Emma hadn't fully understood until now. That night, at the dinner table, her father listened quietly as Emma recounted every detail. When she finished, he didn't respond right away. He just looked at Valor through the kitchen window, who stood silently in the moonlight. Then he spoke. Emma, I think it's time you learned what he's really capable of. The next morning, as the sun bled over the horizon, Emma stepped into the pasture where Valor stood waiting. Her father, already leaning against the fence with a mug of coffee, nodded toward the horse. Valor wasn't always a pasture pet, he said, voice low and even. He was trained under a military initiative, mounted patrol, crowd control, even battlefield response. Emma blinked. I thought he was just a retired rescue. He's more than that, her father continued. He was selected for temperament, endurance, and tactical intelligence. He knows over 40 verbal and nonverbal cues. In the field, soldiers depended on him when machines failed. He set the mug down and approached the Mustang, giving a silent hand signal. Valor responded instantly, stepping forward, stopping on command, pivoting with precision. Emma's eyes widened. He understands? Better than most people, her father said with a slight smile. But what matters isn't just that he can do it. It's that he chooses not to. Valor was trained not just for strength, but restraint. From that day on, Emma trained every afternoon. Her father showed her how to issue cues using posture, hand signals, subtle voice tones. Valor responded with grace and focus, bowing, standing guard, even maneuvering to protect her from simulated threats. What had been a quiet bond before became a partnership forged in purpose. Soon after, a flyer appeared on the bulletin board at school. County Equine Skills Expo, Open Exhibition. Emma's heart skipped. The Bullies would be there. They always were, laughing at others, treating the event like a stage for mockery. That night, she showed the flyer to her father. You don't have to prove anything, he said. I know, she replied. But maybe it's time they see what Valor's really made of. He nodded. Then we'll make sure you're ready. Over the next 2 weeks, they trained relentlessly. Emma practiced guiding Valor through complex sequences. Sudden halts, tight turns, response under noise, and mock confrontations. Each movement built trust. Each day, her confidence grew. She no longer avoided the bullies in the school hallways. Instead, she held her head high, silently daring them to underestimate her again. By the morning of the exhibition, Emma had shed the last of her hesitation. She wore a simple riding vest, boots polished, and her hair tied neatly under her helmet. Valor was brushed until his coat gleamed like polished obsidian. As she mounted him near the loading pens, whispers followed her, some mocking, some curious. Tanner leaned against a fence nearby, smirking. Didn't think you'd show, horse girl. Emma looked straight ahead. She didn't need to answer. She had a Mustang that would speak for her. The arena buzzed with anticipation. Spectators filled the bleachers, chatting over the sound of hooves, speakers, and the occasional neigh. The Equine Skills Expo wasn't a competition, but a showcase, a place where riders demonstrated what made their